I'm Professor Michael O'Neill, Professor of Business Analytics in the UCD College of Business. My PhD is in artificial intelligence. I did that in the 90s. So I've been working for approaching 30 years now in AI research as an AI researcher and in taking that technology and bringing it out into the real world, into different organizations. So, one big part of the research that we do is we take inspiration from the natural world to develop AI technology. Actually, a part of what we do is we ask questions like what is intelligence and how to make intelligence within machines. And our approach to that is to take inspiration from the biological process of evolution. We look at evolution as one of the ultimate systems, natural systems that has given rise to intelligent beings. So we try and harness the power of evolution to create artificial machine intelligence. Some of our most recent research, which is under peer review right now, has uncovered new ways of doing compute within a brain that is way more energy efficient. With much smaller networks, we can do the equivalent job that a much larger one of these mega scale large language models would be capable of doing. We can do that in a much smaller footprint. We've applied our AI technology, particularly the evolutionary inspired AI technology, to lots of different application areas. One that was award winning, as it were, was in the space of mobile phone telecommunication networks, where we have used AI technology to evolve the software so that the software to manage those mobile phone networks, so that those networks are able to operate at a higher capacity, so that more users are served by a network than would ordinarily be available before our technology would be deployed on that network. So the current form of AI technology that's out there in the world right now that everyone's using, that organizations are using, this generative AI, large language models, has a number of significant limitations. So there's serious risks that can arise from using that technology, such as there's the whole issue of copyright laundering, for example. If we look at the more creative aspects, like whether it's visual art, poetry, novels, any of the music, and so on, all of those artifacts have basically been ingested into the training data of this technology. And what it means is all the rights, all the copyrights, all the licenses effectively are being laundered, right? And that those outputs then can be reused without crediting the original owners or licensees of that technology. Another big issue and potential limitation and risk that goes with the generative AI technology, particularly with these large language models, when we're in these when we're dealing with like this conversational AI, it's trained and set up in such a way that we are in a conversation type mode. Effectively, we can think about the technology is effectively being what we might say anthropomorphized. It's given characteristics of being human. It's given characteristics of being intelligence, at least from a surface level. So when we interact with the technology, we tend to attribute those human characteristics to the technology. And that means that we can kind of do this, what you might call cognitive offloading, that we tend to accept the technology as being quite human-like and that it will produce outputs that we can kind of depend on, like we might depend on a trusted human. Um, but that's not actually the case. So, even the idea that AI, generative AI, hallucinates. I mean, it's not hallucinating, right? It's just predicting the wrong words, right? It's making mistakes. The future of AI, the future of AI research for us, as I said, we think there are many open questions in terms of, there are a lot of limitations of the technology that currently exists out there around trustworthiness and so on. So that's certainly a big area that will need to be continue to be developed, and also more fundamentally, being able to create AI technology that is more adaptable, that can react and change in a world that's constantly changing. And we'll be turning to nature and particularly to evolution to help us to create more adaptive AI technology.